What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. We are doing a mid-season betting review, and I am not doing it alone. I got my boys with me, so buckle up. It's going to be a fun one. Let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
We are the NSYNC of NBA cappers. Some of us look great. Some of us can sing. Some of us date 18-year-old women. Everybody knows who I am. We've got Pips with us, the co-founder of PropsMadness. We've got Prop, I'm the co-founder of Pearl Larson Props. And we've got Josh, the co-founder of Swishland, and your man from Land Your Bets. How you doing, fellas?
Yeah, that was epic intro. You just did.
I told you I was going
to want you to name names. Name names.
That let go was super silent, but everyone knows it already. Yeah.
I will edit that in. Don't you worry. I always do. So I don't have a full outline for what we're going to discuss today. I think we give ourselves 45 minutes to an hour just to talk about how this is going. I know we talk on the regular on the side, but let's just talk about how this season's going, what stands out to us, what works, what doesn't. What edges do we have to share if we have any? What are some things that we should be avoiding? I think that's where the biggest learning can take place, because I think we've all been had our rectums rearranged many times throughout this season. So if we can prevent any more of that moving forward, I think it'd be helpful. But let's start off with some positives. This is how we used to do it when I was working in a corporate job. It's like, let's talk about our wins. What wins have you got, Pips? What's the biggest win that you had so far this season?
Yeah, I've been like winning a ton of a bunch of scraps, guys, like betting Kelal Ware under 1.5 assist, Darren Holmes third, betting under 2.5 assists, and like some of those, like I will actually say like huge scraps mistake lines. Like I made by far the most money out of them, and on the superstars, I'm like break even to slightly positive and tend to go on huge variance swings when my guys shoot 3 from 75 over the week. So you are kind of familiar with that shit. Yeah, keeps happening every year, especially in early January. I don't know what's going on there. Too drunk from the news here. I don't know, but it keeps happening. So yeah, it's been like that.
Yeah. What about you, PB? What's the biggest win that you've had so far this season? Is it Pearl Larson? But you've always done well with Miami props.
I don't know. Yeah, I felt like this year more than others, I've kind of been leaning more into like the players that have been working for me and finding new ways of attacking them each game, because I'm watching literally like their play style every time I'm betting on them. And it's something that I didn't really do a lot last year. I kind of like, once I played it, I didn't play it for like another 2 or 3 months, and kind of have changed a little bit of my process on that. Aside from that, really, I guess like using a little bit more AI, not over relying on it, but like using it more to try to maybe help audit some things that I'm doing right and wrong. And yeah, just following along the league is it's a whole process. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, I've been absolutely beating the shit out of AI. And I plan to make content on how I'm using AI to help me. I'm going to make a full video series about it, but maybe we can catch up offline and talk about what you're doing. You can maybe inspire more things.
Sure. Yeah.
What about you, Joshua? What's the key win you've had so far this season?
Man, honestly, like it's not been great for my own personal betting. So the thing I'm honestly most proud of is that there's just a lot of people around me that are sort of getting involved with what I have going on that are doing well themselves. And then the tools that I've been working on behind the scenes too, to try to help other people too with that kind of sort of that kind of, I guess, business model. It's not really even related to betting directly for me, but just kind of getting that stuff going, because like I don't want my whole product to be people tailing my bets anyway. And this is easily the worst season I've had. I can't get back to even on the season. Like even when I've had like a week of like week and a half, all right, nice, we're up 7.5 units. It's like, this was something that I was happy with when I was already up, and I didn't build myself any kind of, bank account of winning. My bankroll didn't grow early in the season enough to where when I hit some nasty variance and was on like a 30 unit, over like a 30-day period kind of streak, that like I didn't have anything to buffer against that. And so everybody's seeing all the bets I'm making or have made this season. just nasty. And there's been enough variance that I like have. I'm not crawling into the fetal position and just crying every day because I have enough to go like, well, dang, not much I could do there or here. But as far as like learning about how to deal with that and learning, like if I hadn't gone through some of this already and gotten all the fits of rage out and all the other stuff out, I wouldn't be even able to like do this episode with you guys because I would just be like, I don't have anything positive to talk with you about. I'm just going to be angry on the show itself and be entertaining in some ways. It's not like what we're here for. So my biggest thing is like learning how to cope with that, knowing that like I've won for like 6 years in the NBA straight in a way that I've like built that up enough. I'm not losing accounts anymore. Got some healthy accounts because I'm donating. So like there's definitely positives, but I'm really like proud of the growth anyways, like a better and some of the stuff I've learned as a result that I know it's going to be turned around anyway. So
yeah, well, that's a good thing, right? It's like if you're only winning, you're not learning as much. Most of your learning comes through difficult times, so it's a good transitional period. For me, I think the biggest wins I've had so far, one is betting around Donovan Clingan, whether I'm betting on Donovan Clingan or opposite Donovan Clingan, because of like how consistent he is in what he does and how he plays defense. It's like if you find the right matchup against him, you can really exploit that.
Yeah.
So that's one win that I've had for quite some time. Meaning 3 weeks. But I bet if Donovan Clingan's playing, I have a bet on him or somebody else. And I've done that for 3 weeks. And that's worked for me. But the other win that I'd say that I've had is, and I've shared this with you, and like Duncan Robinson and early Sam Merrill are examples of that. But that was really just a shift in my mindset because I was so like biased to matchups. Usually if I found players in a tough matchup, even if I liked their role, their usage, their minutes, if the matchup wasn't great, it would scare me off and I'd typically stay away. Whereas I've accepted that some players perform better in difficult matchups and some people underperform in easy matchups. Like Jimmy Butler was a perfect example. And I hate that he got injured because I was really starting to get a good read on him. Like Jimmy Butler in the ideal matchup is typically going under because if the matchup is soft, it's like his attitude relaxes because it's easy.
Yeah.
But if you put him up against an awfully difficult paint defense, if it's the Pistons or whatever, it's like no one can score in the paint. So suddenly it's Jimmy's responsibility and he turns it up and he goes to another level.
That's a great example. Yeah.
Yeah. So a different way of looking at, the matchup may be difficult, but when I use PropsMadness heavily, it's like this player actually performs very well in difficult matchups. So I shouldn't be afraid of that. So when you first look at the UI for PropsMadness and you see all the red, it doesn't mean you should stay away. Like look a little bit deeper and you'd be surprised. Some players thrive in tough matchups. So I was really pleased, like finding at least 5 or 6 players. So now that similar to you, PB, it's like I need to have a mental log of these players. So it's not like I bet it once and then I might revisit it in a few months. Like if that player is playing, you kind of know the angle. So it's almost automatic at that point once you get enough of those players.
Also on that stuff, you need to be able to write like 6 out of 10 times. So to make buckets there. So
yeah, I think what you're talking about too is just what is still an edge, what is still not being considered by the market. And this is like a more popular betting on it is more popular than it's been. I suppose it's more popular. I don't need to get into the people watching it or not, but betting on it is absolutely as popular as it's ever been, especially with player props specifically this year. And so there's a lot less underlying bet angles to be sort of like manipulated. And at the same time, I think there was a lot that the books were able to look at from last year with NBA player props and go, we only lost money here, and here. So let's just tweak how we do this, and this, whether it's accounting for players being out and having the correct lines for their backups, or just not offering their backups until they know if a player is out.
A lot of times,
They've adjusted in so many ways that like they sort of saw those little niche like losing, and they might not have even lost that much money. I don't think their liquidity was so big on these little bets that it mattered that much, but it's where they lost money from guys like us being like, Peyton Pritchard 10 assists and 10 and 5 threes because we know he's going to get 30 minutes last year coming off that. Like that's not going to be an angle you can sort of take advantage of anymore.
I would also say too, like the sports books at the end of the season, who knows, like maybe they have these types of video calls, but like not online, but they also themselves kind of go through a little bit of an audit of like what are some things that we've lost a lot of money on in the props market and how can we strengthen and tighten up that product next season. So like if you think that they're just staying the same and the edge is there, like they're always going to be tightening things up, and we may not know about it, but you know, it's in front of our eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. I found like sometimes when I go on a losing run, I'm like, fuck, I'm just going to hit openers tomorrow. Like I just need to win. Like, I'm just going to hit openers, right? A lot of the times I can't find value in the opening line anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it's not there.
No.
So it's like that used to be like easy
like
last season.
and now it'll be like one book. It'll be like Hard Rock is open early and it's off, and
yeah. So
I think like one thing is for sure, like I've been doing this for like 10 years and I've got so much better every year, and I had almost the exact same results every year because you need to improve just to stay the same because the market is improving a lot every year. I would say definitely a big thing for this season market is like these big sites with projections like Unibet and then ATR. If there is a wrong line, they'll change it and then it will close good. And then tomorrow, next game, it won't open poorly. Sometimes before you find the one edge, and sometimes it took 5 games for them to readjust to it because it was under the eyes of the sharps. I don't know how to say it in English, but you could just smash it repeatedly. But now ATR releases and it's gone into the history. So when you find one edge, it lasts long. It lasts a couple of hours and then only for one game. So that's definitely impacting the market a ton.
Yeah. And reinventing the way that you do your process and not just like being secure and safe with what worked for you last season, more so just like thinking more outside the box and in different ways that, you know, you kind of have to like be even more creative is kind of like how you need to continue to adapt and win, really.
Yeah. One thing that's actually saved me this season, it hasn't helped me win more bets, but it's helped me lose less. It's like I do my normal research, but then once I have my plays, I kind of run through them again, but assume chaos is going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to play 5 minutes less than I expect they do. They're going to take 2 shots less than I expect them to take, or there's potential for a blowout. So I look at the worst case scenario and then I run through that same research, assuming the worst happens. And it's like, well, what's my probability now? If the worst was to happen and I still have a 50% chance of winning this in my mind, it's like, this is probably a good bet to take. But if I look at the worst case scenario and this player doesn't see 30 minutes for whatever reason, there's no chance. I was like, I'll probably pass on this bet because a lot of things
leads me to another idea when we talk about like things that are some traps that I fall into, but we'll get onto that when the time comes.
I would say like just to add a Daft point of view, I've earlier, a couple of years ago, I had this struggle with projected minutes. So I was look at the NBA rotation and I'll look, okay, this guy is on the rotation to play like 36 minutes. And then ATR will release their projection and they'll have 32 minutes. So I was like, how the fuck do they have 32 minutes when it's clear as day that he will play 36 minutes? But they run 10,000 simulations. And sometimes it's blowout, sometimes it's foul trouble, sometimes it's injury, all kinds of stuff. And on average, on median or average, I don't know, probably median, over the 10,000 simulations, he's getting around 32 minutes. So yeah, I was definitely early into the betting career overestimating the minutes, seeing 36 minutes, just do the stuff that he's getting 36 minutes, and I would fucked on my overs so much. So it works great for unders. If you have a guy 36 minutes and you're leaning under, that's probably a long-term great bet to make.
No, that's great. That's a really great point.
You've also got the foul calling switch up that happens every year apparently now, where they call fewer fouls starting at some point in the season, because at some point in the season Adam Silver gets fed up with non-foul calls and or the insane amount of foul calls and too much James Harden ball, and then he'll say, stop calling it that way. And then the unders start happening because the clock keeps running. There's less free throws. There's less easy buckets, right? All the rest of it. And the clock keeps running. And now the games are going under on average now. And it's like, I think since January 1st, if you were betting unders on every single game in the NBA, you'd be winning at like nearly a 60% clip or something absurd for just an under on a total of a game, which means there's not nearly as many overs on the props, obviously, at that point. And that started last year, right around the All-Star break and later. And this year, I guess it started in January. And now, by the way, to add to the chaos theory, 20,000 guys are on a different team than they were 2 weeks ago. And teams are started tanking in December or whatever. So chaos theory is like alive and well in the NBA. And I still think unders are probably going to be the play, even though they might seem like a little bit more work to find them.
It's Josh, it's funny you mentioned that because like I track all of my profitable and non-profitable categories. What I noticed coming into 2026 was that I was super profitable on over assists. And then I started to realize like after 2026, I may have lost like 6 of my last 8 over assists, but at the same time, I've won more under points than I have in the beginning of the season. And because I've been kind of more over reliant on attacking that over assists, I'm not focusing on the under points when I should be focusing on that more, considering like the dynamics have kind of changed.
Yeah.
Not to get deep, but yeah.
Hell yeah. You brought up traps. I love talking about traps, but just before we talk about traps, actually, something that came to my mind, and I want to ask if you guys feel the same way when you see this. It's like, ever since PropsMadness became my one and only, which is about 2-3 years now, I've kind of got this, I'm an egomaniac where I see some people talking about, you should take this bet because they allow the 4th most points to forwards. And I go, idiot. But I wanted to know, do you guys feel the same way about that? Well, probably not that way, but do you ever just look at defense versus position, go, don't be silly. Like there's more to it? Or am I just an ego psychopath here just running high on my PropsMadness fumes?
I would say definitely, especially on Twitter, such a shit fest. So many guys are like these AI bots that do some stupid stuff. It's insane, like Carl or Saul or I don't know those guys.
Yeah,
but it's insane. I will say I do use defense as a position myself, but specifically like Gobert type of centers, and you see centers and similar players by PropsMadness and by position. I use that a shit ton. But if it's like a guard forward guard forward, I don't know what kind of combination. I just
that's like old school.
Basically, don't even look at it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
2019 type prop betting analysis.
Yeah. I remember when I was used to do that heavily when I started. Right. I thought that was the way. Everyone's even though it was positionless then, it's even worse now.
I think you're better off. Sort of just it's not that you're not including matchup, because if someone's playing the Wizards, that's going to be different than if they're playing the Rockets. It's just it is. Now we're talking bottom 5, top 5, or bottom 7 to 10, top 10. I think even 10 is too much. It's not even as relevant. And I think the other thing that needs to be taken into consideration is pace, because there's horrible. The Heat are actually a great example. The Heat are 8th in defense, but they're playing at the fastest pace with a bullet. So you can still go over against the 8th best defense, because if you sort of weight the fact that they're playing so fast, there's more possessions. Yeah, they're 8th in the percentage of times they're allowing you to score or whatever, but that's a lot more times. So it's still a lot more points in total. But I think you just look at it as an overall metric to add to your analysis. It's not the analysis. And it can even be a good starting point, because as soon as I see somebody playing the Wizards, I'm going to be like, wonderful. Let's see who has any kind of value, or who might be they're not taking the matchup into consideration enough. But it's going to be a lot more rare that I'm like, who is, unless you're the second best team limiting something to the center or whatever. If you're 14th against guards, I'm I'm not doing anything with that. If you're 8th against shooting guards, it's I don't even know if I'm going to do anything with that, to be honest with you. And I need the angle for why you give up stuff to shooting guards to be explained to me before I just blindly bet shooting guards. Maybe it's that you overcrowd the point guard so much that the 2 guard actually ends up getting more assists than you might think, because now the 2 guard has an imbalanced offense with the ability to get dimes or shots up. Sure. Maybe that's a pretty intricate angle, but if you're like a pro bettor who's just trying to put out volume, you're probably not getting that deep into it. You're just going Wizards, great matchup, wonderful. That adds to the bet that I want to make anyway. Let me go ahead and make that bet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You actually reminded me of something. I wanted to ask you guys this. Speaking of the Wizards, maybe the Jazz, maybe the Nets, however you want to look at it, right? Because I'm this mature and conservative bettor in 2026.
You know that.
I look at it and it's like, yeah, I like that. If I looked at this player in isolation, it all makes sense. The line is beatable, the form is great, the role, the usage, the matchup is perfect. But then you go down the list and the matchup's fucking perfect for everyone because of how shit that team is. I've just been staying away because I'm like, what do I do here? I wanted to ask, what do you guys do in that scenario when those shit teams are playing and everyone has a good matchup? Where do you start?
This would sound insane, and I did a couple of times in a row, and I'll speak on the last one, but I bet some unders. And
you're a psychopath.
For example, last example is probably like Josh Hart opened like 14.5 against the Wizards. And when the team was healthy, he was at 11.5 or something. And I realized like he scored a bunch of points again in a row, big numbers against teams that put like great defenses, that put like Gobert on him,
clinging on him,
and ignore him, and so he inflated his numbers. And Wizards are fucking shit. They don't care. They'll just do some regular type of defense and got cooked anyway. So I was like, okay, he'll get regular defense. So I bet Josh Hart under, and he scored like 4 points. Didn't get a single wide open look entire game because some idiot on Wizards was glued to him like he's prime James Harden. So yeah.
That's a smart way to look at it.
I found some success on that too. On that note, one of the most recent ones that I thought I nailed pretty well was Terrence Mann under PRA when he was starting for the Nets, and it's like they're playing against the Utah Jazz. You would think that it's a high paced, bad defense environment that would be great for his like all of his stats, but also you have to think like he's the oldest guy on the youngest team in the league, and if both teams are trying to tank. And he's already an established veteran. Like he may not even play in the fourth. So it's just next level thinking that even though the matchup is there, there's some other underlying stuff that maybe the books didn't realize that maybe you could use for an edge.
Damn, I was hoping you guys wouldn't say unders because I don't like betting them, but it might be the way.
Yeah, I'll share a trap though. Like I guess if we're talking about traps, I guess it's just like getting a little bit too confident in blowouts. An example of that would be like, I think the Lakers played the Pelicans, and this is like back when the Pelicans were missing all their guys. Like I think it was McGowan who was starting and like Jordan Poole or whatever. So Austin Reeves, he had a PRA line of 38.5 and the spread was like 16.5. And I was like, yeah, like he'll get his action done 3 quarters and then he won't play in the fourth. But like, what if the game is actually close? Then you're fucked.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess just like kind of adding into the analysis, what happens if it's not a blowout? And if it's still rational enough to play it, then it's still good. But yeah, like if it's too reliant on a spread, that may not actually be, good because things could happen.
Yeah. I've actually had a similar approach on how I look at games with a blowout, massive spread. I just look at the team that it's expected to lose because typically their lines are going to be lower. And I was like, the chances that this blows out is probably only 50-50 anyway, given how unreliable spreads are. You can get an easy win here by looking at some overs on these shit teams and shit players because they probably play the projected minutes anyway. I think earlier in the season, I had a lot of success betting on Utah Jazz players at home because those games ran up to 270 points. There wasn't a blowout when there should have been. It was a ton of fun, but then they started getting fines and shit for tanking. But yeah, I get what you mean.
Which is hilarious.
Also, too, like when people look at high spreads, a lot of the times like they don't even want to take the star over because they fear the blowout. But like there should be a study on like what is the actual chance that has actually prevented a prop from hitting. Like Karl-Anthony Towns over 20.5 versus the Wizards. Like what is the chances that like even if you still played it, it would have won?
There is a beautiful filter on
I was just gonna
PropsMadness
bring that.
called
I'm telling you what, I did the alley oop. I was doing that.
spread.
There we go.
If only there was a tool
Yeah,
that showed
yeah.
you what happened for a specific prop line.
Ready? I'm out. There you go.
Dunk it down, baby. Dunk it down.
What an assist.
Wow. That's so good. My spiel on this is like when you're talking about like relating it back to the I don't know, somebody's playing the Wizards and everybody looks good because everybody does better. Blah, blah, blah. There's one thing I'm looking for is there actually somebody whose line hasn't moved? Is there somebody who's like, okay, well, this guy was 10.5 against the Celtics.
Yeah.
And now they're playing, and he's a guy that you expect is not really, it might be impacted by a blow up, but not really. He seems to like kind of not be impacted. He's playing 25 minutes no matter what or whatever, right? Something to that effect. Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. And then you're just like, well, how come he's the same number against the Wizards that he was against this team 2 games ago? And if you can find a legit reason, okay, then you just stay away. But if you're like, I have nothing to tell me that this dude's going to play less than 25 minutes, I can't even get there with conjecture, because I'm not going to look at a 14.5 point spread and go, I know better than the market that this is not supposed to be 14.5, because I don't, because there's dudes whose livelihood it is to do that. And in fact, there's guys who are faking lines. There's groups that are obviously betting the other side of a line on spreads more than on props, because you can get more down on spreads and totals than you can on player props for the most part, almost always. So those guys are betting not $1,000 a bet. Those guys are betting $5 to $10 to $15 to $20,000 on a side. And so like when I'm going to believe that group of guys who's doing that knows better than I do if the spread should be 14.5 or 7.5. So just looking at it and going, well, that's too high, I know better. You sound like an idiot and you're not right. Right. So like, I'm going to believe the spread, but I can also look at the spread and go, well, assuming that this is correct, and I'm going to assume that it's correct, like what happens in these situations, and then whose line is not adjusted accordingly. And there's going to be, or there won't be, and then there's nothing to bet on. But if there is, there will be one, maybe two, but at least one guy that you're like, his number didn't change. He doesn't have a better matchup position versus defense. He doesn't have a better matchup in any other way other than everybody else has bumped up 2 points and he's bumped up half a point or none. So this is worth me betting on, right?
Yeah, normally those happen when like they come into the matchup with like extremely terrible shooting, like the last 2 games, and then you get that discount right there. Normally,
yep.
Like Colin Sexton.
I would say like it's definitely a play of buying low and selling high for the most part of the season.
Yeah. All right. What are some other traps that we see or maybe fall into? Let's talk about this.
Sure, I'll start. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned this last year too when we did this. It's just trying to get ahead. Let's say like you're betting on a game with a guy that has a questionable tag, and the surrounding players trying to kind of, I don't do this. I'm just like getting in the mind of like someone who used to do this, but just like assuming beforehand rather than like waiting for the actual, player to be ruled in or out could really hurt you or help you. Mostly hurt you if you're wrong, You're
gambling on the injury report.
Yeah, especially Joel Embiid. Yeah,
This is a Pips thing. Pips is good at this.
I'm good at fucking this up, man. I'm good at fucking this up. I was like, I sent him a friend a bet on Sam Merrill over 11.5 points, and I already betted, put down money, and he was like, dude, you do realize he's coming back from the injury on his shooting hand? I was like, Malcolm, I won't play if he was still hurt. And then after the game, he said he was playing on the injections and shoot like 3 times in 30 minutes. Yeah, donating. So yeah.
I think betting on the injured player himself, like the player that's actually coming back from an injury, I think that's risky. But if you're betting on whether somebody else will play or not and how that impacts the player that you're betting on, there could be an advantage. I used to do that a lot last season, but this season it's been harder because the lines is like a midpoint. It's like if the player that you're expecting to be out is out, the line will move up a little bit. But if he's in, the line's going to move down. So it's like I've kind of just waited till things are formally announced instead of going early? Because the way that they're setting the lines this season it's harder.
I would actually say like for like 70% of the spot probably, yeah. But I would say I probably made the most money on getting the injury report right.
Yeah,
Like
that's what you gotta
for
do at this point.
example, the guy, for example, I would say like Isaiah, probably Hartenstein, or I don't know, like the last that comes to my head. Like last 3 times on back to back, he sit out. I open the slate, he's up there,
Right.
and I get like the Jalen Williams lines that are set like he's playing, like he Hart's playing, and it's a back to back. So Chet Holmgren could be out. And I don't remember, not knowing the game against the Spurs, everyone was out, and I seen Shea got hurt. So okay, it's back to back. J-Dub is out, Hartenstein is out, Shea got hurt last game. Okay, they probably sit out everyone, and they had like Jalen Williams lines at like super low, like he's playing like 15 minutes, and like he is starting and playing 30 plus. So yeah, I combined points over, assists over, threes over for like some huge 7-game parlay, and everyone was out, and it went from plus 10,000 to like plus 150 or 200 closed, and yeah, one of my biggest wins. But it just you just need to put a lot of time into like I had a luck, I will say, that I watched the game and I've seen Shea hurt, and I was like, tomorrow back to back could be everyone out.
It's
And
a bit
then
risky, but like the more you watch and the more you know the game of basketball, like you
I
get
would
a
say
better confidence.
in that spot, you don't want to bet straight at plus minus 110, minus one. Like you want to long shot. So if you are
Yes.
right, you get like a big return. So if you are
I bet the
50-50
ceiling.
on a spot and you are like betting minus 110, probably not the best bet. Could be decent, but not the greatest. So shooting for long shot, don't spot, paid probably my biggest edge this season, I would say.
Yeah.
Isn't
I
those
did
long
one of those
shots.
recently as well, actually. I did it on, I think, the last Portland game against Utah. And that was a game where Utah had all these players questionable. They're tanking, but Portland had heaps of players questionable. But I was like, at the very least, Rob Williams is not playing. It's a back-to-back. But he still had lines listed, right? And there was nothing on the injury report. And I was like, fuck it. I bet Klingon over points, over rebounds, over assists in a parlay. It's like plus 600 at the time. And then that cash should, like, by the third quarter, it was all done. He absolutely destroyed them. So
yeah, early into the season, Houston Rockets, Adams was out in every single back-to-back game, but they didn't play plenty of back-to-backs early into the season. So books took a lot of time to catch up. So first back-to-back he was out. Okay, so he was out every single one, and then they had insanely low lines for Capella. And then after like 3 to 4 back-to-back games, they are readjusted. But it was a short period of 2 to 3 games where you could bet like over points, over rebounds, and get like good numbers for Capella. It was like 3.5 points and 4.5 rebounds, and he was playing like 20 minutes. Like it was insane. So
yeah. I did that actually on the third. I remember that specifically because I did it and I put it on YouTube and everyone was like, who the fuck is Clint Capella? I did that. That was the third back-to-back because I was saying we only have a 2-game sample size here. Back-to-backs with no Steven Adams. If Capella plays X, we just need 15 minutes. He'll cover his points. He'll cover his rebounds. He covered it easy, but everyone's like, why are we betting on this guy? But you're right, because I went back to it like probably 1 or 2 games later on that same filter, and I was like, the line's gone. It's adjusted very quickly. But I do remember that
one thing as well, just to stack up on that as well, is like if there are teams that are entering first, this is pretty obvious, but like if there are teams that are competing for the playoffs that are entering, back-to-backs or like the first leg or the second leg, and the first leg is of a tanking team and the second leg is of a competing team, more than likely they're going to rest the first leg and then play the guys in a more meaningful game in the second one. What do you guys think about that? I think that can be sort of an edge. Like I know that for sure for TJ McConnell when he was on the Pacers and playing the Lakers one night and then the next night playing the Nets. May not have been the Lakers, but I knew that if he was playing the Nets tomorrow, he's going to play today, but not play tomorrow.
Right.
I want to tell you that I had a beat on that, especially with like the Jazz. That was like a classic Jazz move, is like Lowry plays the front end against the Thunder and sits the second night against the Bucks or whatever. But like, Godspeed if you're trying to figure out what the hell Will Hardy's doing at Utah.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm out on that. Like, I'm not trying to figure it out. The only thing you can bank on is Lowry and, well, formerly Triple J, they just shut him down. But Lowry and Nurk, like, they ain't touching the floor in the fourth. I guess we can bank on that. But like, I would have agreed with you as recently as like 2 months ago, PB, until like then it just stopped making sense overall. And Isaiah Collier played 52 minutes in a basketball game or something. And I was like, well, if they're not going to take it seriously, how am I supposed to take it seriously?
I mean, there are games though that are like tank bowl game, tank off games, and the Jazz and the Nets or whatever.
You can find your spots. Yeah, you can find your spots, no doubt. And like you can overarchingly, I think, bank on that as like a tactic of like, we're trying to hide it from the league. So play the good players we have against the good teams and sit the other ones. And like, there's still stuff to figure out, man. I think overall it's like chaos theory, and you've got to be like following, like, I think to a degree what you were saying earlier, Daft, where you were like, I nailed this guy's props 3 games in a row, and then like things got too high and it's gone, and I don't have the same angle because Rob Will might be back or whatever. And it's like, I got to hop off this for now and I'll see if it's available later. And then I got to go find something else like that and just stick with it, because if you don't stay on top of it like that and follow that closely, you're not going to find that stuff. You have to know that, like, I should have done this so much heavier the other day, but I bet a couple of clean parlays, because it was like Rob Will played the front end of a back-to-back right before the All-Star break, and Klingon played 27 minutes. That was so ripe for Klingon playing like 34 minutes the next night as the only center playing in that game. And then he went for like 22 and 20 or whatever it was. So I like played like one parlay of his that was like 15 and 15. It was like, wow, I left money on the table. You got to really lean into that. And I was going to say the exact same thing that Pip said, which is like, a bet that I had the other day was De'Aaron Fox is not getting his PRA in this game. They're playing the Wizards. It's a back-to-back, whatever. Like this is Dylan Harper game and not De'Aaron Fox game, right? I know that. So instead of just betting De'Aaron Fox under PRA, it was like under for De'Aaron Fox. It was like under everything for him individually, combined with Dylan Harper over everything individually, combined with the Spurs to win by 15 to 20, because that's how this happens, is like they're all correlated. And I just got like, you can get 100 to 1 doing stuff like that. So that's the only type of stuff that's even like saved me at all. And it's not even stuff that I've been able to give out because I can't bet it until 12 minutes before tip off. And I'm like, great, I'm going to give this to out and it's not going to matter, which is, again, why we're switching a little bit from just straight picks to like, here's how to do this with tools. But anyway.
I've done that before. Like if I see Spurs are favored by 15, instead of just like blindly betting that spread, thinking that it's a blowout, obviously that's going to be a sharp ass spread line. I'll just like pivot to like a Dylan Harper over, because I feel like that may have more edge, and that hasn't been adjusted because the spread may have moved. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Can I just read last couple of my bets? I think it could be fun. I just opened my messages that I sent out. First one, like 2 days ago or 3 days, Aaron Wiggins under assist.
Oh, I wanted to take that one. Did you move that? Damn
it. Second one, Devin Carter over assist. Third one, Reed Shepard over old lines, same game parlayed because I expected him to get more minutes. Next one, Maxime Renaud. Next one, Royce O'Neal. Next one, Achuva, under points, under assists, under rebounds combined.
Yeah.
And then Jarris Walker over assist. Then Kayson Wallace over assist, and so on. All the scrub
like
guys.
Role players.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. Yeah. One thing on the tanking guys, the tanking teams, it's like one thing I've noticed, like the teams tank, but the players don't.
Oh, I missed out on that, man. Jaren Jackson was a prime example of that on the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
Like his usage and his front court touches were just like way up in his limited minutes. And that was such an edge to attack.
Yeah. I got fucked on the other side of it, right? I bet Lauri Markkanen the first game after I noticed they're not playing him late.
Yeah.
They still were playing him as if he was projected for 30 plus minutes. And I was like, these lines are too high. And then he played against the Orlando Magic, only played 3 quarters, but he took 25 shots in 3 quarters.
He's going to maximize his effort because he knows that his time is limited.
Yeah. So,
but that's why they call it betting. At the end of the day, like, we're not going to take every single thing into account and go, how did I not see Lowry taking 25 shots in 20 minutes or whatever?
On
at the end of the day, like, the most useful information would be like, is this guy in a fight with his girlfriend? Like, how did he wake up on the wrong side of the bed this morning? Like, that would be the intel that would really give us an edge. Is like, did he stub his toe and now he's had a bad day and he got in a fight with his mom and like whatever? Like, that would be way better.
Yeah, I watched the Zubac. Zubac did an interview on our Balkan, our language. He was talking about lots of stuff. I advise you to check it out. There are subtitles there. It was insane. So he was saying, like, Kareem came to the game. He was my mentor, and they ran a ton of shit for me like they didn't in the previous games. So first game of the game, first play was for me. A bunch of other plays for me because Kareem was what came to the game. So it's a bunch of stuff. Sometimes he was saying, like, guys, we stayed up till the 5 a.m. playing cards with the James Harden and Draymond Green, and we had a game in a couple of hours, and we were like drinking and playing cards. Like, obviously, like, he gonna be fucking sucked tomorrow.
Yeah, I know a guy where his edge is purely from stalking Instagram accounts. That's all he does. Follows the NBA players, follows their Instagram accounts, and he finds an edge that way. He finds out who's motivated, he finds out who doesn't give a shit, and then he bets that way, which is insane, but it works.
Definitely makes sense. Yeah,
it's not even that insane. It's like pretty brilliant.
Yeah, it is. I'm just too old to use Instagram. I haven't been able to figure it out.
I used to do hometown, or like if a player was there, I would type in the player's name and then the keyword family after on Twitter to see like if the families were like at the stadium to watch. Like, that's normally a good thing. Or like if it was his birthday. But I try not to put too much weight into that. But it's silly stuff.
Yeah.
100%.
All right,
what's true. Josh, what traps have you found this season? I know it's been a turbulent one for you.
Yeah, I think for me, the I don't know if it'll be the same if that many people will be able to relate. I'm not sure, but like, I had formulas coming into this season that I relied on, and that changed. So the trap for me is like, yesterday's price is not today's price. What worked yesterday doesn't necessarily work today. I didn't, for the first time, didn't account for changes in the overall landscape of the NBA betting. And I thought I could come in with the same, either I'll just wait until 2 p.m. and start betting with the information that I have now. I know that I'm just waiting on this guy's props to come up because, right, there's going to be a rush to bet on him when this guy might be ruled out later. The in and out stuff that like I lived off of last year, right, accounted for like so much of my profit, so much, right? When I was up about like 50 units at one point in like January last year, it was like 45% of my profit was from those bets. So, and when you think about it, it's like a window of time of like an hour versus the 12 hours I have to bet before that. That's a pretty big percentage of wins from a 1 hour of betting. Right?
Yeah.
So that dissipated. It was gone. I tried to like continue to find it. I tried to reach for stuff this year, not knowing that. And so like the biggest pitfall is just like, it's always getting better. This is a living, breathing thing. Like if you look at the best sports betting groups in the world, in the country, whatever, like they're continuously having to figure it out. It's not like we've got the sauce and now we're good to go. If that was the case, then like, it wouldn't take work, man. It does no matter what. So then realizing like I don't have the same amount of time that I had last year in different parts of the day to be doing that, especially if I'm growing a business that is more than just me giving picks to people, then there's got to be stuff. So I need to figure that out. And that has been the bulk of my energy this year, is like how to continue to try to like still let people know what I'm betting and still make money off of my bets, which I'm not doing this year, which is also why I have other income, but also like start to keep building things because the tools and stuff that I have on my website now and the subscriptions that I'm offering aren't really just based on, is Josh hitting his personal bets or not? You know what I mean? Because the last thing I'll say is, and you know this, Dav, you've talked about this year more than I've ever heard you talk about it, which is like there is a big difference between doing research to find potential value and then betting and making money off of it. There really is. It sounds like you're like, what, you just led me to the bet, so just go bet it. And it's like, one, where are you getting it down? How much can you get down? How long is that line available by the time you can get it down? Like, I'm not fuck it. In the past, there's been times where I haven't put down my own bets. Let's just leave it at that. Right. Like, so like that's that's a whole business in and of itself, is having people at your disposal with the books that at their disposal and not getting their accounts. And So that whole game is something that I'm starting to be like, I would rather have my time spent stopping at the point of having to get the bet down and giving y'all the information, because a lot of y'all still have access and you're betting $50, $10, $20, and you're not as likely to get limited with this information. And I know y'all are just adding it to your 6-leg parlays anyway, but at least you'll be happy that my leg hit in your bet. You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
So
I still do that. I find mispriced lines or I find value and I send it out to all of my subscribers and I say, look, I'm not betting this, but this line is off. I'm not putting my account at risk, but TJ McConnell should not be at 10.5 points in assists here. Like, this line is completely wrong. So,
and that's something that I would tell people too. Like, if people are thinking about coming into your subscription, like, it's not just that you put out this card and then it hits at this rate and you get this ROI. It's also that, like, if you get what you put into it. So if you're a subscriber for Daft and you're around and you have your notifications on when Daft puts out this other thing that's not an official bet, like, hopefully you can profit off of that stuff, you know? So that's a part of the value you bring.
Yeah. One thing I want to bring up that you mentioned there, it's around how your edge last season was that hour before tip-off or the on-off stuff, right? One thing I've really learned this year is, like, everybody's different and you have to adjust your behaviors on what works. What I have known for a while, but I finally accepted, is that I am terrible reacting to news. Like, that small window from when Underdog lets you know who the starting lineup is or who's in or who's out, that small window that you have, I am terrible. Like, I am not calm. I can't research properly. I'm reaching and overestimating, and I get absolutely railed. So I think I did it maybe 3 to 4 weeks ago. I made a commitment to my subscribers. It's like, all of my bets are going to be done at this point, and it's before the injury reports are finalized, because I don't want to react to new news with this short period of time. I would prefer 8 hours to get my ducks in a row. I only bet on what I know is going to happen. If we miss a few games, we just leave it alone. Like, I'm not playing in that space anymore. It's too stressful, because not only do you have to find it, you have to send it out at the right time, and the lines are moving. What number do I tell them to play it up to? It's just too stressful. And then it fucking loses anyway because your read was wrong. So I was like, I'm not doing that game anymore. So I just stay away from it completely.
My trap has been the late ads, like in Eastern time, like after 9 p.m. for like those like last 3 games. I tend to just try to like find something. I try to do my best to try to find like value, but then like I just kind of always like falls on my face, and I just fail to realize that at this point of the night, news has already broke, overnights have shifted. If the line is still there and you think that there's value, like, someone has already looked at that and not moved it. So like, what's the point of even trying to attack it? And I've looked at like a few of my cards in the past, especially in January, and have seen a lot of good like potential 4-0 nights or like 3-0 nights be ruined by these late ads that I think have value, but really there's just nothing that exists at that point of the night. And it's just things like that I've tried to like audit myself when I have like these poor stretches and try to identify, and hopefully that, that's the reason that it is, and try to get better from it.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah.
So I would say like my biggest change from last season to this season is I don't have private group. So I did bet last season. Just now I just did it like a huge volume and not having the private group. So I would say it's completely different sport. Like it's similar, but so much different. So I had some rules when I was doing it, like widely available lines at post 9 a.m. Release, nothing before. And now, like when I started betting myself, I was like in that kind of same thinking, and then I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I just need to find a way to get to bet as early as possible and to get down as most as I can as early as possible. And also you can get any line that's off of the market. You don't need to be widely available, as we need to do when we share our bets officially. So it's kind of been easier for me to win this year than the previous years. But if you want to have a huge volume, then you need to bet only against FanDuel and Pro Builders, which is much sharper lines. They don't offer some scraps early as like Bet365, Hard Rock, BetMGM on those. But as I said, betting early, so kind of broke this down to like, instead of just trying to compete with the sharp market, which is late into the day, just try to get as many out as possible early and bet against softer lines.
I remember
Focus should be there.
Yeah. Pips and I used to talk, and like I remember he shared some frustration like on a lot of plays that he really wanted to post to his group that he felt limited to. So it's nice to see that now he's able to kind of like take advantage of it and really just not be hold behind any bars, and you know what I mean? On that same note though, I will say there are two different openings throughout the day. So there's the overnight openings that we all know about, but the injury news opening is still another entry point. Like you still can get fresh lines, especially role players that may have not been out overnight. Like they may now be more available, or like something could happen where the entire player being ruled out completely refreshes the market. So it's not like you're late to the game if you've missed the beginning of the day, but you definitely still missed a lot of value. So there is still, there's still more entry points.
I'll say on that entry point, like times of the day, when you have a read that's like ball knowledge that's usually tough to be in projections, I just wait for ATR to release their projections and then wait for the discount. Like if I'm like looking at the line and I expect them drop coverage and like buy will be wide open for threes, and everyone on Twitter is already shared it and it moved a ton to like minus 170. And I'll just wait for ATR to release like 1.5 projection. This line will go down to the minus 150, minus 120, and I'll bet it then in highly liquid market and you can get down a lot. So sometimes when you have like ball knowledge read, projections can get you discount at like 5 p.m. every day Eastern time. So those were times to attack.
But you also then have to have the like discipline to just go, I tried this. There is nothing. I cannot bet anyway. Right? You have to go. This was a strategy. Sometimes that's a part of all of this is like you're going to do a lot of work on the hopes that it falls right for you, and if it doesn't, then you've got to just stay away. You just don't hit.
Yeah,
right.
Discipline. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I was like, I'm saying like, I want this at minus 130. If it gets there, I'll bet it. If it doesn't,
and then stick to it, baby. Yeah.
Hey Pips, what are your thoughts on de-juices?
Oh, don't even.
God awful.
I have that word banned in my Discord.
I think I joined a Discord a couple of weeks ago purely because I just wanted to see whether they were stealing my players or not. Because I do this. I buy almost like all the different subscriptions just to see who's knocking off my shit. Because I'll post a video, then suddenly everything pops up. Like I had like 10 different guys on Reddit who were copying everything I did word for word and posting it on there. Some of my VIP plays that people pay for that I don't share publicly, they show up there with the same explanation. So I sign up to everybody's Discords anyway, just to have a look. So if you're fucking doing it, I'm watching you. But I joined a few Discords, and then they would have a post every day of like 15 different players called de-juicers at ridiculous odds. And I was like, what the fuck is this for? But then they would share like the main bet, which is minus 170, with the instruction, add a de-juicer. And then I looked at the juicer, I was like, who the fuck bets like this? And I was like, this is crazy. So you wouldn't recommend doing that? It's not a good way to get better odds.
You recommend
it? It's absolutely insane. I mean, people don't realize that what is it like. If the guy is minus 1,000, he has a chance of hitting like 95%, and you are adding the juicer that's actually just giving more edge to the sports books. And how many times you've seen those tickets getting crushed but minus 1,000? It's insane. Yeah.
De-juices.
It's just math, but it's just a simple fact that you just don't know that you just gained 23 cents. So because you can't stomach minus 130, but the likelihood of your bet hitting just dropped a lot more than 13 cents.
Yeah, I've had so many different variants of that word, like D-juice, D double space.
Look,
like,
I mean, you just got to realize too, last thing I'll say is like, you know, there is a level to this where it's like we talk about the right way to do it and the wrong way to do it. And math is the ultimate reasoning behind that. We're just going to tell you when it's mathematically dumb or not dumb, essentially. At the same time, like, if you don't want to bet a minus 150 because it doesn't do anything for you because you're betting $20 and minus 150 comes out to like $14 or whatever, then don't bet that bet. But like, consider this: if you're betting $1,000 on a prop and it's minus 150 and you do that a bunch of times and you hit them like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, like you've made good enough money. Like you just made a paycheck. So like, it's not the same for everybody. If you're Joe Schmo, like I talked to a dude the other day in one of the like consulting calls I do, where he was like, I live on the border of a state where you can gamble and I can't gamble in my state. So I can only bet at these times because I have to drive 45 minutes and go sit in a parking lot on the other side of the state line and bet. And I can't do that every day because I'm a
America.
Yeah, America, baby. Right? You can't do none of that in my backyard, but you could do it over right 20 yards that way. Like that's how we be. And like this, so when I'm talking to this guy, I'm like, yeah, brother, I get it. You're not gonna, you don't have the time to bet all. You have to bet like a couple things big. Maybe you need to play some parlays to make this worth your time. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying mathematically, there's going to be a smart way to do this and a dumb way to do that. And whichever way you're figuring it out, just make sure you're mathematically doing it intelligently. That's all. So
yeah, there is a huge problem in what you just said, and that's expecting people to understand math and be interested in understanding math. You can just lay it in front of them, like word by word, explain well. Sometimes in the PropsMadness Discord, some guy posted this user. I spent like 30 minutes writing a poem about why is it wrong, like explaining to like 5th grade level.
Explain to it as if he's a 5-year-old toddler.
Yeah, and he just put thumbs up, and I've seen him a couple of days later doing it again.
He put a thumbs up.
But I also just want to be clear that liking sports betting but not liking math is like being like, I want to be a zoologist, but I don't like animals. Well, then you don't like this. Like,
No, they just like money. They like money.
Yeah.
They like the idea of money, I guess.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I've noticed, because I think I've got like 7,000 people in my Discord, but people don't care about profit. They don't care about profit. They care about winning today. That's all that matters is today. It doesn't matter how bad yesterday was, how bad tomorrow could be. Today is all that matters. Like, it's fucking insane.
Wild.
Yeah.
Recency bias. Yeah. Like,
yes. Which actually, I wanted to share something with you. I was going to do this with you guys offline, but I'm in the process of writing my own book around betting on the NBA. Yeah.
Like what? Like psychology, like stuff, or
it's a lot of more. It's really about the mental space that you need to be in, the traps, how you can improve your processes. So it's not a how-to, but it's probably more of what to avoid. These are the traps that you're likely falling into, why you fall into them, and how you can avoid them. And it's lessons through because I've been gambling for 15 years, and I was a losing gambler for 12 consecutive years until I figured it out. So it's a collection of my personal stories, but the 7,000 people I talk to every day in my Discord server who still lose money each and every day. It's all those stories condensed into 16 chapters.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would say some of them beyond any way to help them.
Oh, of course.
I was at 95%. So I would say like 98% lose and 95% are beyond saving. But those 3%, we are doing this work for them.
It's for you, baby.
Go for them. And for $5.99, you can download it digitally.
Love it.
I think it's pretty cool. It's a cool way to like get all your knowledge down without ruining your edge to potentially help others. But it's a creative outlet. Because like I tried to run a school community to actually teach people how to do it, a hands-on way to do it. And nobody wants to be taught how to do it properly.
Yep.
Like the amount of time I spent maybe 80 hours creating content specifically on how to do things the right way. 80 hours of content plus all the research that went with it. Nobody wanted to learn a damn thing. They're just like, give me the damn bets.
Yeah.
It's like, I can give you the damn bet and say, only put 1 unit on it. And I'll give you 3 of those bets. At the end of the day, 90% of people come back to me saying, your bet's fucking shit. You went 2 from 1. How am I supposed to win the parlay? I was like, I did not say that. I didn't say put them all together. If we go 2 and 1 every day for the rest of our lives, I'll be rich. But
yeah.
It's okay to expect more of people, y'all. We can expect more of people. We might not have our expectations met, but we can at least raise the freaking bar of discourse and conversation and comprehension a little bit, I think. So let's do our best.
I mean, I made PropsMadness to earn some money, but also made it to help people move on from last 10 trends and to help move this to another level, because it's a lot of time just misunderstood. But if people lose too much, we won't be here for a long time. We need to learn them how to lose less so we can be a sports better 10 years from now.
It's true. It's true.
Motivate them, yeah.
Last thing. I know we've hit the 1 hour mark, but whilst we're all active PropsMadness users, I have something on my pipeline of things to do. I want to do more tutorials on PropsMadness, but not like the way that tutorials have been done previously. I want to do more tutorials on like what not to do, because I keep seeing people do it wrong, but then how to do it right. But I wanted to ask you guys for some ideas around what are some things that you probably noticed or observed how people use the tool wrong. I know, Pips, you probably see this more than anybody else. Like you're using it the wrong way, and then you're anchoring your bet around the wrong data. But what are some common ones that we see people doing wrong?
I mean, I would say expected minutes change it a bit, because everyone was just, okay, looking at one guy setting 30 plus, even though he's probably playing like 28 to 32. So he's going to end up 30 plus, and then including all those 45, 47, 44 minutes games.
Yeah.
Okay, he hit in 75%. He's averaging 3 points more than his lineup. Obviously, you include all the games when this guy took 20 plus field goals and he's now covering 17 and a half line. No shit, man. He's covering by field goals alone. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is a basic understanding.
The best is when someone says, I put his floor at 15 shots. What are you talking about?
I actually just saw one.
Bridges, yeah.
I think I recently just saw one. It's for DeMar DeRozan. We should bet DeMar DeRozan over 16.5 points. And all of it was about the season's data and his averages, and when he takes at least 15 shots with no Sabonis or whatever. And I was like, are you fucking insane? Have you not watched what this team has been doing for the last 2 weeks?
I don't think that person knows who Neek Clifford is. He's never heard of Neek Clifford, for example. It's like, you don't even know who the guy is that's taking all the shots for them nowadays. Yeah. How would you know not to bet on DeMar DeRozan? But it was built on DeMar DeRozan without Keegan Murray when he plays 30 plus minutes or some shit. I was like, he's not playing 30 plus minutes for one. So like anchoring around that, you've already lost.
I'd also say like doing the usage rate too. The PropsMadness team did a really good job in introducing that this year.
The usual,
coming into matchups and understanding, hey, in the past, like he may not have or may have more of a usage rate than he's used to seeing, and then filtering out the completely opposite games. And I think it can give you a more accurate and reliable projection. Yeah. And just blindly going off of just games where like it's just not even apples to oranges, or it's apples to oranges.
Yeah. That's a lot of fruit. Yeah. Like one thing I've noticed a lot of people do, it's like there could be one player that's missing, right? Let's say it's OKC and SGA's out. You look at a certain player, but you look at games where SGA is out. You only see he's only missed a few games this season. So you go back further, you look at last season. Suddenly you have an 8-game sample of games without SGA, and Case and Wallace points look fantastic. But what most people failed to account is to look at who else was missing in those games. Because in half the SGA games, they're tanking and nobody plays.
Yeah.
So
that Jalen Williams too was a good one. I took his under 9.5 points versus the Bucks, and it's because like 2 years ago he would be the guy playing in the garbage time because like he was still young, but now they have even younger guys like Barnheiser and whatever. And same with like the Aaron Wiggins under assists. Like he had those high assist games, but now they have Jared McCain. Now they have Nikola Topic. So it's just players that they didn't have in the past that it may look, because SGA and J-Dub are out, that it should be higher, but really the full picture says otherwise.
Yeah.
I do got to run, so I just wanted to say one more thing too. I don't want to cut you guys short, but like I think everything you guys are saying is also that they're like, just the more information you have, the more prepared you are to bet. It's just betting is just information. Who has more, better, smarter, righter information, right? So if that's the case, then like talk to more people. Like if we had a call every morning with the 4 of us at the same time where we're just sharing our thoughts, that in and of itself would save us time, because maybe we should do that, but that in of itself would save us time, because we wouldn't necessarily have to worry about, are we missing an angle, because we've got 3 other brains that have already thought about this to tell us if we're missing an angle. Doesn't mean we're just gone up to 100% hit rate. It just means we've increased our chances of having enough info, right? And there is something to like having too much info, but I think that's a little bit of a cop out too, which is like, take the info, weight it properly, and then use it accordingly. And that's how you be good at betting, right? So like that's kind of it, but
nice.
That's a great way to finish things off. Well, look, I appreciate you all. This is always fun. And I know we say this every year that we should do this more often. And we do this once a year. But let's do a post. Let's do one at the end of the regular season after I absolutely nail March. March is my best betting month. Like for some reason, it's the best one for me. Yeah. So after that, and I get absolutely ruined in the playoffs, we should catch up.
love it.
I was planning to do that on my new channel, but I don't know how to set this shit up.
We'll do it on your channel, and I'll get Josh to teach you how to do it.
Yeah, and then I'll pass it to someone else also. But yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right. I'll leave links to all of your guys' shits in the video description for people who want to see it. Follow Pips on YouTube. He's the second most consistent NBA YouTuber on the planet behind myself. So get behind him, but we'll do this again at the end of the regular season before I lose all my money in the playoffs. I appreciate you all. You guys have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, where you're at. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.